Good evening. I'm Chris King, and tonight we are diving into the ancient yet timeless story of a man named Job. See, his story speaks of the great lengths of endurance in the middle of human suffering, the depth of really what faith is, and a quest for meaning in a world full of hardship. But to begin our story, let's look back at another situation which directly led into the story of Job. See, there was a day when the sons of God, the angels, they came to present themselves and to worship God, and Satan literally came with them. And God asked Satan, he says, "Where have you come from?" And he says, "I've been roaming to and fro." And God literally points out Job in the middle of this and says, "Well, have you considered my servant Job? He's a righteous man and he shuns evil." And Satan says, "I can't touch him because you got your hand of protection over him." And he says, "Can you just remove that?" And God says, "Okay, I'll remove my hand of protection from around Job. Just don't take his life. That's the only thing you're not allowed to take." Now, back to the story of Job. Job was a righteous man, as I said, but that wasn't the only thing. Job was also a very, very wealthy man. Actually, Job in chapter 1, verse 3 says that he was the greatest man among all the people of the East. It's actually recorded that he had 7,000 sheep, 3,000 camels, 500 oxen, and 500 donkeys. He had a large amount of servants to care for this estate and these livestock. Even though this number really isn't recorded, the amount of time and investment that it would have taken would have been astronomical for him. In addition to that, he was married with 10 children. He had 7 sons and he had 3 daughters. And as this story transpires, Job begins to lose everything. He loses his livestock. He loses his wealth. He loses his servants. His children pass away. And then in the middle of it all, his wife goes, "Why don't you just curse God and die?" And yet his friends begin to come up and question, "What did you do to deserve all of this?" Job doesn't react by cursing God. In fact, what he does, he begins to question why good people go through suffering as well. And despite his immense pain, he begins to journey through this searching of answers from God. And he begins to pull out truths. See, it's not a situation of the question of suffering, it's about faith and it's about perseverance. He wrestles with these doubts and grief, and ultimately, Job's faith is restored. And then in the end, actually, scripture records that he was blessed double the amount that he had. His children were double the amount, the livestock, the wealth, all double. And God came through in the midst of time for him. Thank you for tuning in tonight, and God bless.